All right, guys, welcome to Healthy TV episode number 34. I'm just getting warmed up here because it's freezing out there. And I wanted to, actually today what we're talking about is why it's so important to nag your child or children about their posture. And now I know that, nagging kind of has a negative connotation, but there are so many good reasons why you want to make a priority of helping your kid sustain good posture, and that's what this whole show is going to be about. I'm going to talk about three main reasons, and this is all based around actually a great blog post that my colleague Dr. Mike wrote. We've just put it up today, so you can find the link to that in the comment above. And at the bottom of that, actually, there's a great self-assessment tool that we put together that can help you to assess your own child's posture. And I encourage you to do that. Just go ahead and click through, and you'll be able to it probably takes about 5 minutes to take your each child through that. And if you have any questions about it, the best thing to do would be to run through the assessment and then send us an email or even a Facebook message. And I know personally I'm very happy to help you troubleshoot and work through any of the information that you collect from there. So today what I want to dive into is three of the impacts of poor posture, because I often think that we get caught up with simply the fact that, okay, posture is just like an aesthetic thing. And while it's true, posture is kind of one method of us looking good, there's so much more to it. And definitely in practice, in our clinical practice, I've been noticing more and more challenges, particularly in the like school age kids, sort of 6 to 10, 6 to 12 year range, where we're starting to see issues with in their spine that are totally unknown. Like things I was not used to seeing in that age group. Things that damage to the spine that I would have historically only seen in older populations, maybe 20 and older, and we're starting to see that in kids as young as 10 and 12. So clearly there's a problem, and I think one of the big things is that apart from all the sitting that kids do, they're also now, in the last 10 years, engaging a lot more technology, and that puts them in that posture, the sitting with the head down, right, on the phone or on the gadget, and that puts a tremendous amount of stress on their spine. Now, first of all, I just wanted to talk about, why is this so important? Because we apart from it being, just posture being kind of thinking of it as a structural element of the body, really you got to think about actually what's inside the structure. So if we think of the primary structure, both the the spine, the pelvis, the spine's designed to have curves in it for a reason, to allow for better ease of mechanical movement, but also because of the way it's designed, it's actually anytime we take it outside of that normal position for any period of time, it puts stress on the nerves inside, right? The wires that are connecting the brain to the body. And if we sustain a posture more often than not, then your body's going to adapt to that. So your kid's body is actually going to just actually adapt to that new position, and that can put a lot of stress on those wires. Okay, and that can really interfere with the way they communicate from brain to body. And so I wanted to go through a couple of findings that we had here, and I'm going to refer to some notes here just so I can stay on track. But really, I think what the first thing, and I already mentioned it, the aesthetic side of things. Now, at some point, your 6-year-old probably doesn't care what they look like, right? But at some point, your child is going to be concerned about their appearance. And this is something I see quite often, actually, in the kind of teenage years. And unfortunately, what happens is if they've had poor posture all through their kind of preteen years, it becomes very difficult to change that habit. A lot of it is based on habit, and then there's also structural change that happens. And I know one of the things that I talk to, say like teenage boys, trying to get more attention from girls, which is just a natural part of being a teenager. Posture is one of the best indicators of health. So if we have good, healthy posture, I think unconsciously, as you look at any other animal, a lot of their posturing when it comes to mating is based around, chest out, shoulders back. And so the same applies as humans. So I think the first thing is not to discount the aesthetic nature of posture and how important that is as kids get older. And just keeping in mind that if they get preset into poor posture in their, between the ages of 6 and 10, that's going to make it a lot harder to change as they get into adolescence. The second thing, and this is where we get into more, actually some really great research that's come out recently, is that we're starting to see damage in the spines of kids, even as young as 10 years old, damage to the bones and the discs previously unseen in that age group. And a lot of that, again, has to do with the new positions that are taken, particularly in the neck as they spend lots of time bent over, and also in the lower spine because of all the sitting. Well, that's what, at least what theoretically, that's what we think is happening. This is something that becomes harder to correct, because if there's actually changes to the bone itself, that's largely is going to last, right? There's going to be issues with that long term. And so we want to make sure that we uncover that early, and that's why I think it's so important to take advantage of that free assessment tool above. So follow the link above and you'll be able to download that. There's a big button in that blog post where you'll be able to grab that free assessment tool. And so I think the reverse of that is that if your child maintains and is, just naturally, kids have good posture as they develop. You watch infants as they become able to crawl and then start to stand, and then they begin to be able to squat. They automatically have good, healthy posture. And so what you really want to think about is you just want to maintain that as they get older. And that's going to allow for healthy development of their neurostructural system, the spine, along with the nerves that are running inside the spine. The third thing we talked about, so first of all, is the aesthetics, and then the second thing is the physical or the structural damage that can result from it. And the third thing, this one is actually really interesting, something that I'm really interested in diving into more, is that the actual position of the spine and our posture in general has a direct impact on our mental emotional health. At least that's what the research is starting to show. And it actually makes sense if you think of the reverse. So let's say you're anxious, maybe you're a little bit fearful, and you imagine like a stress posture is we do this, right? That's our body's natural response to stress. And that results, that's in what happens internally is there's all these changes in hormones so that you can respond to whatever the stress is. Well, what the research is showing is that when you actually put your body in a stress posture without any external stressors, you actually see increases in those same stress hormones. So there's an increase in cortisol primarily, and that has a big impact on the brain, particularly in developing kids. So there's a great TED Talk, actually, I don't have the link right on me, but I'll put it in the comments below. But it talks about the impacts of taking on good, healthy posture and what that does to individuals in terms of their own perception of their emotions. So people that actually take on a healthy posture, particularly like around the shoulders and the neck, they actually will report that they feel more confidence, they feel more at ease, they have higher self-esteem, or they rate themselves higher on scales of self-esteem. So I find that really fascinating, just this direct connection between our posture and our brain, and particularly the emotional centers of your brain. So those are just 3 quick reasons why posture is so important. In fact, I would describe it as really an essential requirement for your kid to develop in a healthy way. And ultimately, as parents, your job, I think, is to make sure that you help build healthy adults in the future, right? And so this is one simple thing that you can do. Yes, it requires some focus and some attention, and of course, you may actually have to resort to nagging at times, but it's definitely worth it, and your kids will thank you. I know I certainly look back and I thank my mom for being on top of me for maintaining my healthy posture now that I'm an adult. All right. So Best thing to do, grab the free assessment tool, just click on the link above. You'll be able to actually read through the blog post where there's more information there. And at the bottom, there's a big button that says, download the free assessment tool. And I'd love to hear your feedback. So you're welcome to put a comment below if you'd like to share there, or simply just send us a private message. And myself or Dr. Hawks will get back to you as soon as possible. All right. Hope you're having a wonderful Friday night, and I will see you all next week.